Tara, and today we're talking about some fragrances from the house of Roja Parfums. Now, recently, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that Roja did reach out to me and send me a package of 3 of their, what they call the Essence de Parfum collection. And basically these, even though they call them Essence de Parfum, that's on the back is the concentration they refer to them as well, I'm assuming is like basically like an eau de toilette. So essentially they're lower concentrations of fragrances that they already have in their lineup. And they sent me ones that are in their feminine lineup. I do appreciate it. It's really nice to try these out. I will say in the past when I've sampled some of the feminine ones and some of the more male marketed ones, I do tend to prefer their more masculine fragrances in general, but I appreciate this either way. And I'm going to tell you what I think about each of these, regardless as to whether or not they're my typical style of perfumery. So the first one up I want to talk about is the Elixir. And this one came out before the newer ones in the purple bottles. So this one's in like sort of this blush pink bottle, really beautiful. And I just kind of got out one of the boxes. The box is, I mean, it's a box, but it's a really nice box. Comes with like the silk lining and everything. A little bit less fancy than the box that my 51 Parfum came in. I purchased this, what was it, like a year and a half ago, I think. So I'm a little bit familiar with the house, but not super familiar. And I hadn't really fully tried many of the ones from this collection. So, by the way, Roja Parfums, the perfumer, the owner is Roja Dove, and these are 100 milliliter bottles. So they're bigger than, I mean, I think you can buy the Parfums in 100 mils, but they're like crazy expensive. So I only have a 50 mil here. So just to give you an idea, these are 100 mil and this is 50 mil. So anyway, let's get back to the Elixir. So this is a really pretty, like fruity, floral, maybe slightly woody kind of fragrance. I think it's really very pretty. And this one, I will fully admit, when I first sprayed this on, I like sprayed it all over and I knew that the concentration was gonna be, you know, weaker than obviously the Parfum. So I sprayed it liberally. And then I was like kind of sitting there and I was like, I don't really smell it that much. And I was kind of disappointed. I was like, wow, like I just sprayed it on. But then I got up and started moving around and I like ran some errands and stuff. And as like every time I moved, I would get a whiff of it. And I was like, oh, that's really pleasant. So the like projection when you're just kind of chilling is not great on this one, but it does, at least like kind of as you move your body, you can get like wafts of it. So maybe, obviously I can't ask people around me. I mean, I could, but I'm not a weirdo, so I don't. If they can smell it to like get an idea of like the scent trail or the sillage as I'm walking around, but my own personal sillage, I could pick this up. So that was really nice and pleasant. Now, all of the Roja Parfums, when I've like looked at them before, they just have a crap ton of notes in them. So for me to just go through and tell you all the notes that are in here, I don't think would be very helpful because honestly, I can't detect all of the notes that are in here, but I can tell you what stands out to me. So this one to me smells like it definitely has some rose, like a watery style rose, although it's not prominent. I wouldn't say any one note is particularly prominent in here, but I can detect that there is a watery style rose in this one. There's also some fruit sort of vibe going on in here. I think it might be peach. I know that he does tend to use peach in a lot of them, but he also uses raspberry, I think, in a lot of them, at least the ones that I've smelled. So here I would say that it's probably peach. Has a little bit of like a muskiness to it to me, like a very clean musk. A little bit of florals. I've also noticed in the past, and I think I've said this in a video before when I've tried some of the Roja Parfums, that I detect ylang ylang in a lot of his feminine marketed fragrances. And I kind of get that here a little bit. It's not particularly strong. In my 51 Parfum, it's much stronger, but I can detect that here a little bit. And then I would guess there's a little bit of vanilla in this or something that just gives it the tiniest bit of a sweetness as well as a bit of like a woodiness to it. There is also this slight like almondy powdery thing going on. I'm gonna guess it's heliotrope and not like just kind of an almond accord because it does have a bit of a powderiness to it. Again, sort of that floral vibe as well. But overall, I think this is just a really pretty fruity floral, slightly woody, but mostly fruity floral fragrance. Before I move on to the next fragrance, I do want to kind of talk about the price point of these, because this, although it's 100 mils, it's still very expensive. Less expensive by far than the parfum concentrations of the fragrances. I do believe there's also, for many of these, eau de parfum concentrations that are kind of in the middle. And those ones, I think the bottles basically look like this, but instead of crystals, it's the gold at the top, just to kind of give you a heads up. I haven't tried any eau de parfum from Roja, but I think that's also an option, kind of in the middle. Anyway, so these are very, very expensive, like 50 mils for this one. I want to say like regular prices in the 400s. I got it on a sale, so I didn't pay that. But yeah, regular price for 50 mils of the parfum concentration is very expensive. For the 100 mils of these like essence ones, I think they're $290. So still very expensive, but much less expensive. Of course, you're getting a lower concentration, which is why that they are less expensive, and also probably why you get more of it. But just to give you a heads up, these are very pricey. And for me, for something like this that I think is a great everyday kind of fragrance, it, like I said, it made me feel good. It was like very pretty, and I felt like as I moved, it's like probably people around me found it very pleasant. But for $290, that's very expensive for just kind of like an everyday style fragrance. Although I guess I probably have some others that are in that same sort of price range. But in general, I would say that if you're interested in this, look for discounts. Probably the Roja site offers them sometimes, but anytime I've ever purchased Roja, it's been like through other stores. Saks carries them, I know for sure. And I pretty frequently get 20% off coupons from Saks that you can use on not all the fragrances. I think usually Le Labo and Chanel are excluded, but you can use them on Roja. So that's what I would recommend if you're interested in this, is like look for a little bit of a discount, because these are expensive, and you can, especially probably through like Neiman's or Saks, occasionally get at least like 10% off, but they do send out 20% off coupons with some regularity. So I would do that. Also, I wanted to mention that I think if you were going to maybe think about getting something like this as like a really beautiful, nice, like kind of luxury gift for someone else, I think that this one in particular is probably a safe bet. I honestly think it would be difficult, or I think it's unlikely that somebody would dislike the way this smells. I think, like I said, it's really pretty, it's really pleasant. It's not too much of any one thing. It's just, I don't know, like I said, it's just kind of an uplifting, happy sort of feel-good scent. So that's the Elixir. And yeah, I think it would make a beautiful gift if you're like hesitant about it, although buying perfume as a gift can always be risky, but I do think it would make a beautiful gift. And also I think if you can find it at a bit of a discount when there are sales going on, I think that might be a good time to buy something like this. The next one up is one called Reckles, and I just think these purple bottles are so beautiful. I love purple, first of all, but the purple and the gold together look great. Let me spray this one again. But when I wore this one, I immediately was reminded of a couple other fragrances. The first is Kilian's Love Don't Be Shy, and the second is the new release from Parfum de Marly called Oriana. So if you like those fragrances, you will probably also like Reckles, but if you own those fragrances, you probably don't need Reckles, because it is pretty similar. Not identical by any means, but pretty similar. To me, this one still has that neroli, kind of goes in that Fruity Pebbles vibe, like how I always say Love Don't Be Shy smells like to me. So that neroli kind of citrusy thing going on. I think that it was mandarin that's in here, if I remember correctly, but don't quote me on that, because like I said, there's just a ton of notes in all these Roja perfumes. But yeah, I get that. I get some rose, which is definitely like Love Don't Be Shy Extreme has more rose in it than the original. So maybe you can kind of go that direction. And then this definitely has some vanilla, because it has some sweetness to it. Again, there's other stuff too. I think there's probably a bit of like a clean musk in here as well. I would say this one has a woody vibe to it too, in the dry down a bit. But overall, I think like if you're comparing those three and deciding which one would be best for you, I think if you want to get noticed, this is not the one, because this one is softer. But if you find Love Don't Be Shy to be a little bit sharp, I kind of do because of just the particular neroli that's in that one, then I think you might like this one more, because this seems a little smoother, although it's softer and it's a little quieter. It's going to stick closer to the skin. So if you're like wanting to maybe not stand out as much as Love Don't Be Shy might make you stand out, but you enjoy that sort of scent profile, then I would say Reckles might be a good option. The last one they sent me is the 51 Essence de Parfum, and I thought, oh, well, that's convenient because I already own the Parfum, and I'm very familiar with this one since I have owned it for quite a while. And so I figured I would compare these two for you all to see like which one maybe if you're interested in these you'd want to buy. Let me tell you right off the bat that 51 is a very sophisticated scent in my opinion. In fact, it's so like classy and elegant and sophisticated that I often have like trouble getting myself to wear the Parfum. I just got this, so I've only worn this once, but the Parfum I've worn many times, and or as many times as I could get myself to wear it, because it's just so like I said, it's so sort of classy and sophisticated I am not. So it's not necessarily the vibe that I frequently feel like I can pull off, but if you're looking for something like that, maybe for a special occasion kind of fragrance, I think it fits that particular profile. So first, let me just tell you about the Parfum, because I am very familiar with this one. I've worn it enough to really have a good understanding of it. So this one, I get a lot of ylang ylang, and I actually have this one on my left wrist and the new version, or the Essence, on my right wrist. So this one, it's like ylang ylang. It has a creaminess to it. There is a bit of fruit in here. I think there's gardenia in this, and I want to say there's like probably tuberose too, because I do get sort of that creamy vibe that you might get from gardenia and or tuberose. I definitely pick up a little bit of a woodiness in this one, especially in the dry down, not as much right now in the opening. I do get a bit of woodiness from this one, especially in the dry down, and there is again a bit of a fruitiness to it. So again, this is kind of another like fruity, floral, woody style fragrance, but here this is much more like a ylang ylang sort of dominant, in my opinion. It's like a creamy ylang ylang fragrance, lots of other things going on. Like I said, I do think there's some fruits in here. I think there are other florals in here. I can certainly tell that there's something else going on. And then there's a bit of like a woody base, but as a whole, really sort of regal smelling fragrance. And yeah, I really enjoy it. I will say that this doesn't last a super long time and it doesn't project a ton, but honestly, I guess it does last okay. But a Parfum a lot of times will sit closer to the skin than like a lighter concentration will. But a lot of times Parfums will last longer. Now, in this case, this particular fragrance typically lasts on me like is detectable as I just am moving around for about 4 hours, and then it becomes very much like a skin scent. But for the purpose that I tend to use it for, which is like for going out to like somewhere really nice because it does smell so elegant, that works, because usually it's like, okay, I'm gonna go out to dinner, maybe hang out for a little bit. 4, 5-ish hours, that's enough. So it works for what I use it for. But I know that's gonna put some people off because they want it to last longer. So just to give you a heads up, I don't think the longevity on this is like super fantastic, but for the occasions that I've used it, it's good enough. So yeah, that's the original. Now this new version here, the 51 Essence de Parfum, it's very similar. I noticed when I sprayed them on strips, and on paper, I noticed they're more similar than they are on my skin. So the way that they change with my skin chemistry differs between the two. So this new Essence one, let me hold it up so you know what I'm talking about. This one, it's less creamy to me. It actually, the ylang ylang also seems less prominent. And in this one, I definitely get maybe a bit more woodiness to it than I do in the original, although I get that. I get maybe a bit more woodiness, and to me, I would say that, I don't know if it's violet that's in here, or I think it might be violet. Kind of smells like violet to me. Stands out maybe a little bit more than it does in the original. It's probably in the original too, because I do think that these are basically the same combination of notes, just a different concentration. So to me, in this one, it's a little bit more airy, less creamy. Like I said, this one's the original, the Parfum, is very creamy and it's thicker. It's a thick fragrance, whereas this one is airier, it's lighter, and the sandalwood that's in here, or whatever, I think it's sandalwood that's in here, still gives it a creaminess, but less so than like that really dense, creamy, like floral that I get in the Parfum. And also the florals that are in here kind of maybe, I don't know if they're in different concentrations, like, or different proportions, I should say, or if it's just the way it plays out on my skin that ylang ylang doesn't come out as much, but it seems like some of the other florals that are in here stand out more to me than in the original. So Like I said, they are kind of similar. If you ask me overall which one I prefer of these two, that's kind of tough because they do smell somewhat similar and I like them both. I'm gonna say I still prefer the Parfum, but I, of course, also like this. So just kind of depends what you're looking for. I don't think that this one really lasts much less than the Parfum. It doesn't last a long time either. But of course, like I already mentioned, this doesn't. So in terms of longevity, I don't know that there's a huge difference between the two, but I just prefer the more like full-bodied creaminess of the 51 Parfum. So yeah, those are my opinions on these. In general, you all know that florals are not my kind of main style of perfumes that I really enjoy, but I do find all of these pleasant. Of course, I do like 51 because I'm, wear it already. And Reckles I enjoy, but it's not like my favorite style. I also don't think I would ever consider like Love Don't Be Shy my favorite style either. I like it, but it's not like one of my favorites. So I enjoy this one, but not something that I would probably reach for a ton. However, I do think Elixir is a really great everyday fragrance. So I probably will use this, especially like for work and stuff, because it smelled really nice. So yes to this one, not as much to Reckles. And then the 51 is nice, but I do prefer the Parfum because that's the one I already have, and I like my fragrances thick. So anyway, those are my thoughts on these fragrances. Again, I was gifted these new Essence ones. I paid for this one myself, just to be very clear. I probably will do, I'm planning to do a giveaway eventually, maybe when I hit another big milestone or something. But what I think I'm probably going to do, because I have been getting a little bit of PR recently, which is great. I appreciate it. But I obviously don't necessarily want to keep all these. So I'm probably going to put some of these PR items that I'm not going to keep for myself in giveaways. So be on the lookout for that. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when such a giveaway occurs. Hit the like button if you like this video. And if you didn't, hit the thumbs down button, because guess what? I have a thick skin and I don't care. Anyway, I do hope that you liked this video though, and I hope it was helpful. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.